Okay. I wasn't ready yet. So this is where YouTube gets a few extra seconds of bonus. It's all right.
Welcome, YouTube.
Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Story Studio podcast. I've listened back to the few of these, and I'm wondering if we need just music, like just music, not a professional intro, but do we need some sort of...
the old days? I like the music from the old days.
Right, but I don't want to read anything scripted, but I can just be like, hey, welcome to the Story Studio podcast. Fuck yourself. Because that's less professional than like actually reading a script. So I figure that's the way to go. Imagine this is somebody's first episode. That'll be fun. I no longer care anymore. It's wonderful.
So is that the theme of today's show, is that you no longer care anymore?
No, we're going to do a summit wrap up, but the summit wrap up does include the theme of me not caring anymore. So there's that.
And ironically, Dave has started to care. So like,
what this is going to be like, I can't think of where we've seen this, but he's going to, like, we're going to switch. Like, he's going to slowly...
Like in Vice Versa with Fred Savage and Judge Reinhold?
No, not... That's instant.
Does your mother also have that VHS tape somewhere?
I'm sure she does, yeah.
Vice Versa, and there's always the...
There's a ton of them.
Well, but there were two at the same time. So,
Freaky
like...
Friday?
No, Freaky Friday,
No,
the original was
with
used
Vice Versa.
Vice Versa and... Can't remember what the other one.
Kurt Cameron. There was one with Kurt Cameron.
I don't remember that one. Vice Versa with Judge Reinhold. That's the one that I knew.
Yeah, that one was really good.
No, I meant something slow. Like Dave's going to slowly become, and I'm going to get all angry.
Metamorphosis, where I turn into a giant bug.
Are you half cockroach now already?
A quarter.
No. A quarter. Okay.
So maybe that's a good way to. Did I even say what we're talking about? We're talking about the summit and the final summit and sort of state of the community, and we're not trying to be informative anymore though, so it'll be more fun. But I think maybe this is a good jumping off point, because we did see, cue up the music, a whole new Dave, and now look at him.
New Dave. Why is it tone deaf? Do you guys like that?
No,
I don't have to sing pretty for you guys.
No, you don't, because there's no funnel attached. Used to be on the old show, you had to.
I would have tried to hit those notes a year ago.
But if you guys can't see, Dave is vaguely smiling, which doesn't usually happen on this show, and worst show ever it happens.
He's also in a new shirt, which is weird.
He's not angry to be here yet.
Not a new shirt. It's an old shirt that just happens to fit me now.
Oh, really? Is it from like the 70s?
Can we start?
Can we bought for me as a child?
Can we start with
This Is Us, where Dave's clothes tell us what decade it is?
It's not that old.
Can we start by talking about some of Dave's progress and how we did see a whole new Dave at the summit in a good way?
I didn't like how he kept trying to grab my ass like the whole time. He's just like, he's dropped all this weight and now he's frisky.
Trying, please. You were begging. Yeah.
How much weight have you lost, Dave?
I'm down to 278 or 279 now. So
80 pounds total.
From last year's summit. What was last year's summit?
Probably 315.
That's great. That's awesome. So, and a new, like a brighter attitude, I would say. I would say borderline optimistic.
I wouldn't use the O word, but
let's not go crazy.
But he did seem more chipper. There was no.
I was watching it circulate. He was sitting down talking, very friendly to people. He was very good on stage. Told a few personal stories in very sincere way.
Like how little you had to be on stage this year.
I very much enjoyed that. Which was good, because like the first day I was anxious when I took a Xanax. I hadn't had Xanax in a while, and
yeah, you were pretty loopy.
Yeah, and when I did,
you talking about when you just yelled out Pornhub and stuff?
Yeah.
So, oh my God, it was how that sounds like a joke that Johnny just made. But if you weren't there, that's actually what happened.
I hope my son in the back wasn't taking notes at that time.
Like, we just every time we turned to Dave and just asked for his feedback, he'd say, Pornhub.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, so I hadn't taken Xanax in a long while, and when I last did take it, before they switched me to something different. And by the way, I don't take either regularly. It wasn't effective because they gave me the smallest dose. So I asked, well, bump it up to the.
Did they see your size? What are they thinking?
I don't know. So I asked him to bump it up, and I hadn't taken it in quite a while. So the first day of the summit, I decided, well, I'm kind of anxious to go on stage, so I'm going to take it. And I regretted it because, like, I felt, not only did I feel nothing, but I also felt like very kind of, not groggy, but sort of just tired and hollow. You know, how I feel most days, but without the anger.
Oh, it's no fun without the anger.
And also without the wittiness.
Not witty, not anger.
Yeah, that was true. That was true because Pornhub is.
It was kind of blunt force. It was like
it wasn't
with a hammer.
Well, so I was looking to contribute because I figure, okay, I can contribute in one of two ways. I guess,
and Pornhub is always a give.
I can say something meaningful, which takes work, or I could, make a, smart ass comment. So I don't remember what the first reference was, but Pornhub did fit the first time.
It was, we were talking about strategies for indies to succeed in the modern ebook market. And then that was your response.
No.
And then somebody said, then somebody said that my grandmother is ill. She fell down the stairs. What do you think I should do to help her? And that was
nice to go to Pornhub and look for advice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there was no advice. You just
it was just a single word.
Ignore her.
Then ripped off all your clothes and ran around.
You guys are blowing this way out of proportion.
No,
like they do on Pornhub.
That's exactly what it was. In fact, I think it was you, after you said Pornhub 3 or 4 times, you suggested that Pornhub sponsor the next event.
I think they should sponsor this episode of the podcast. Because we're not really providing good information anymore.
Hey, you guys say it a few more times to just really alienate everybody.
Do you guys remember when 99 Designs would let us write our own ad reads? That was fun.
I actually told that story this morning in a nonfiction thing that I was writing.
It worked.
It was amazing. Yeah. Do you guys remember the time when they wanted to have a call? And then we were on the phone with them, and they were talking about the ad read, and we're like, oh, we're going to get in trouble now. And then it was clear that she had never heard it before.
And then we would do the same ad reads for Caption Access and send them to them, and they thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So here's the deal on the summit is we talked about this a few times. This was the last Smarter Artist Summit, but now it's like Smarter Artist Summit is dead. Long live whatever StoryShop's going to do with it. And that was announced at the summit, is that they're going to take it over is wrong, but I would say transition it, evolve it.
Yeah, that's right.
I like that.
I love it. It's like my favorite thing as of last Monday and Tuesday. Because it's actually not true. There's cooler stuff than that, but that was pretty cool.
Because I like, well, I don't like actually going to the event, like driving and stuff to it, but once I'm there, I like it, and I like being around people. Although I typically only talk to like 1 or 2 people at a time. That's my preferred, like too many people.
Yeah, but people know that. They come up to you 1 at a time. They're very respectful of the Dave. Have you noticed that?
I did notice that.
Respect the Dave.
Yeah, they're very respectful.
Although I will say, and I don't want to complain about our audience.
Go ahead.
But
Go ahead. It's not our audience anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
More than I was comfortable with. People were really, really close to me, just right in my face. And one person actually coughed as my mouth was open and I was speaking, and I felt their saliva.
You know who you are.
Oh, I remember who it was too, but I'm not going to say their name.
Oh, slack it. I want to know.
Do you realize that next year, since you won't officially be a host, you'll be allowed to just tase those people?
I hope so. I hope they let me.
I don't think it's a matter of let. They have liability insurance.
So that will be the so I actually want, I actually want to be there, but I don't want to have to be, not that I was responsible for preparing any of this in any way. I had no hands on, but it would be nice to have even less hands.
No, I know what you mean. I
it's
totally
stressful.
Let's say more what it is, though, because we haven't actually said what's happening, what that means.
All right. Go ahead, because I have no idea.
Do you want to take the ball in that, Sean, or you want me to do it?
Either way. In short, it's just the StoryShop guys. We don't actually They're calling it the Story Shop Summit. That's what it is.
We need to work on them a little bit. That's just too close. It needs to be different branding.
Yeah, we like the name Story Shop Live because it's really active. You know, it's energetic, and
I like Story Shop on Ice.
there will be a new community that forms around this, and it is Story Shop based.
And they won't even necessarily know us. That's the thing. Like we become featured speakers.
Over time, especially, you know, and Story Shop Live has this animation to it. You know, it makes that community vibrant. But it is the community. Like we are seeding the community with its original inhabitants, and I think that the community that we have brought together is really special. And this year, I thought we could see that, you know, as much, if not more than ever. And I know going into it, there was definitely a sadness. There was especially sadness, I would say, among our Stone Table people who were, for the most part, all there. And, you know, they know that this is the closing of something. And I think Johnny and I, more than Dave, just simply because of the proximity that we have in the space, we're saying goodbye to something. And I think we were a little bit aware, is probably the right word, that it was going to be emotionally heavy. And I think we were very hopeful that it would be all good emotions and that there wouldn't be anything negative that hit us. And there was nothing negative. And every year has had at least something negative. Even the first year, which was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It was at a cool place called Luca, but it still had a couple of like discordant moments just by nature.
Like the fact that it only had one bathroom.
Yeah, right. I think there were two. Well,
there was a men's room and a women's room, and that was it. And you had to walk past everyone, and people were just kind of congregating outside of it. So
they'd be waiting for you. You'd come out, and you'd just have dropped a giant deuce, and it's
right. You're trying to be quiet in there and not like.
And you guys don't understand how much Dave plans his day around his bathroom.
Somebody's waiting outside. There's no separation. Just that door. Like you're just in there pooping, and it's a
thin door. You could definitely hear the plopping. Yeah.
Wow. So, do you guys notice that moment where the show stopped being professional, like officially? There it was.
I thought that was when we said Pornhub 20.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. This ship is.
Dave took care of that in minute 3. So yeah, there was no moments like that. I mean, it really was pure bliss. There was a lot of just
love.
Love. Yeah. I think appreciation is the biggest word. A lot of bonding, a lot of, I love just sitting in the back of the room and looking around and watching everybody is talking. Everybody is congregating. There aren't people standing by themselves or sitting alone. The community was way too welcoming for that. And the amount of people who were really sad, oh, this is the last one. And then the joy when there was an announcement that the Story Shop people were going to do something else with it. It was really gratifying. And I'm really grateful that next year we have a place to go that's still home. You know, that's actually, I don't think we've said that either, that it's going to be approximately the same time and probably in the same space. So it does. Yeah, so it does have this feeling of continuity to it, which is great.
But we want to establish that it isn't the Smarter Artist Summit. It isn't the Johnny, Sean, and Dave show, which means that people need to know that the vibe is just going to be a little bit different. We aren't going to like MC the whole thing. We aren't going to be like, you know, the stars of the whole show.
Which means we get to go and be guests, which is awesome. We get to participate.
It's all the good without the energy like requirements of
we don't have to package it, we don't have to sell it, and we don't have to worry about breaking even or making a profit or anything. We just have to go enjoy ourselves, and that's awesome because, like, seriously, we're not in the live event business. We're storytellers, so it really is us staying in our lane. But you know, we did have the last one, and it was wonderful. We could not have gone out on a higher note. Both previously, the weekend before, you know, we had our last ever signature event, and that was awesome. And then Monday and Tuesday were awesome. And then Wednesday was a really small little intimate thing that we did that was also just really great. And yeah, high notes all week long.
Did you have any favorite moments, either of you or both of you, I would say, from the summit?
Yeah, I had a few. I hesitate because I don't want to sound self-aggrandizing or anything, but I really liked on the second day when I think it was the morning, and I think we had just finished giving our talk.
Yeah, this is actually the one I was going to pick, so I'm going to hop on this one too. It was the morning of the second day.
Yeah, it was the morning of the second day, and it was Q&A, and someone very, very kind just stood up and was just really gracious. And she said, I don't have a question, but I knew this was the last time that I would ever have this chance to say this, and I wanted to say it. And she talked about last year at the summit, how we had that podcast. We did a live show on Sunday night, and somebody had said something, because we had brought people up from the audience to kind of tell their story. And somebody, on the survey that we were doing to try to give people a better experience had knocked us and said, it sounded like you're trying to sell Amway and getting people to, talk about how great you are, which is just kind of shitty because we were just pulling people in from the audience to tell their stories.
And the only reason we did that is because when we were talking about the live show, we said, needs to be something that involves the audience, because otherwise what's the difference between this and how would you do a live show?
Sean and Johnny wouldn't let me heckle the audience like I wanted.
Right. I mean,
no. So yeah, so that just kind of it kind of sucked, but like whatever. And like neither Johnny or Dave even saw that. I just I saw it last year and was like whatever. But we always see stuff like that, and it's kind of one of the reasons that it's time to go, because it's very expensive for us to do this, and it's emotionally expensive, it's financially expensive, and it's scheduling on a calendar expensive. And most of the time it's totally fine, but then you get people who are just kind of like shitty and
doing this to rob us of money. Like, fucker, this cost us money, you motherfucker.
Right. I don't think we may have made money one year out of 4.
Yeah,
I mean, it hasn't been a money-making event,
but that's not even the point.
Yeah,
like
point.
You're at this event, you're in like this community, and it's so warm, and you say something like, it's like you're trying to sell us Amway. Like, I don't even get that.
That's a little strange. That is a little strange to me. It's just seems odd that, knowing us, deciding to go to this event, that you would feel that, but whatever.
Well,
I'd like to sell you some fuck off, and it's free.
Well, I don't quite understand it because like there's not even anything for sale. I mean, this was last year. There was no end of the funnel. It was just our event. And so anyway, whatever. I actually didn't remember it at all until this person brought it up, and she said that just it sucks. And I know that not enough people really say the nice things. And then she said all the nice things, and I loved what she said, and I loved how many people were resonating with that. And it was just a really nice, really warm moment, and it was meaningful.
Was she the one that talked about how we had such an inclusive environment?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I appreciated that.
Well, I think that differentiates this community, and this isn't, like Sean said, he didn't want to be self-aggrandizing, and I mean, this is really like aggrandizing the community. This isn't, I mean, we did create the space, but it's the community that has been inclusive. Like Sean, Dave, and I can't be inclusive for everybody. And it has been an increasingly, like I've watched over later, like each subsequent summit, it's been more inclusive, and it's been more cool. Like there've been, people just know not to be dickbags, I think. And that's that. But I think because other people won't let them get away with it. Or they don't listen to it. Like, you're trying to be a dickbag and you're saying it to somebody else. You're like, dude, go away. Like, why do you think I want to hear this? And so having that, I think, amongst creatives, artists, like writers specifically, is not common. And anybody who thinks it has been lucky enough to be part of this one or another community that is like this. Usually it is a little backstabby, and or jealous, and or just rich with comparisonitis. And I think that there was a lot of mutual encouragement, and it is a special community. And that's why I'm so excited to remain a part of it, without having to run, sell, organize it, and all that stuff that we've done in the past.
We get the good parts of it without, the assholery that comes with the few douchebags.
I do like the term assholery.
Dave, did you have you had, obviously it was the hardest for you because you had to cross the country both ways. And, like you also had an anxiety that, I think Johnny and I wanted everything to go well. So there's a certain amount of, raised filter, but it's not the same, right? You're actually wrestling a heavy, anxious feeling all the way here, right? And then you are decompressing all the way back. So what were your thoughts on the way back? Actually, let's start from on the way here. On the way here, what were you feeling? What were you thinking? And then how did reality align with your expectations? And then what were you thinking, processing on the way home?
Well, okay, to straighten you on one thing, I'm anxious both on the way to and from. I'm not decompressing on the way back. I'm not content until I'm home. I don't like the process of traveling. I always want to.
So there's no big sigh when you're pointed back towards redacted.
No, not until I get home, because
Wow.
I just think of, especially because of all the traffic and shit that can go wrong, and I'm like white knuckling it like all the way through Houston and Louisiana.
So okay, I didn't know this. So there's no relaxation?
No, not at all. Not until I'm home. Not until I'm home, but not until I return the car to the car rental place. Like all the shit that can go wrong, I just want it to be checked off.
Dude, you need to move out of redacted. It's time.
But again, I keep going back to like we've glanced past this a few times because it's part of a joke that we're leading up to a punchline. But in previous years, and I do mean three consecutive previous years, we've gotten almost literally punch by punch updates. And this time on the way there and on the way back, like we had to pull it out of him. Hey, Dave, how terrible was your trip? So you can entertain the live worst show ever audience. It wasn't something that you were like brimming with.
No. Yeah, I think, I don't know. Maybe I've gotten a little bit over my annoyances. I don't know. Maybe,
and that's good. That's growth.
No, it's really, really good. It was great to see because you came stronger, you came more powerful. And even before, I think we talked about this on the last episode that you weren't here, but you sent us a pretty sexy picture of you getting new clothes.
Oh yeah, that was sexy selfie. That was going to put it right up there with like amateur hot dudes, amateur bear photos.
Totally. If you were on like bearme.com, a lot of
Wait, is that a real site? Because I'm really suspicious of how quickly you pulled that out. Pornhub.
How do you think Sean and I met each other?
I want to see if there is a Bear Me.
Is Bear Me like Beer Me? Like you just, that's a command. Dude, I'm ready. Bear Me.
Bear meat.
Oh, hold on.
Bear Meat.
Bear
And is it meat? Which spelling of meat?
No, there's no bearme.com.
No, you got to claim it. Somebody go out there and register it.
I actually think somebody owns it because it's just white space. Like there's no website here, but it doesn't.
I thought it was for the book White Space.
That's what I was going to say. Can you please put Dave's sexy selfie on the back of White Space?
So, yeah, my favorite part was on the second day, because on the first day I felt like a total abject failure and waste of space. Yes. So on the second day I said, well, I ought to say something halfway meaningful here for the people that have decided to show up for this last thing, because I know there were a lot of people that they came for the first time because it was the last time and they wanted this chance to be part of it before it presumably went away. But I told a speech on like the shitty year that was like last year and like how I changed, and I talked about my friend Todd, and I've talked
that was one of my high points.
And just being at my lowest point and having, survived. I hate to use the word survive. That makes it sound like worse than it was. But just
do you want to like play Gloria Gaynor's "I Will Survive"?
just having
the cake version, it's much better.
No.
Just having gone through a lot of shit, and I talked a little bit about bullying and basically overcoming fear. And after that, like a lot of people came up to me and they were talking about how it resonated with them. And
did any of them cough in your mouth?
No. But like people that kind of surprised me, like there's this one like really jacked dude that like totally looks like
Aggro. He's from New York.
No, he didn't look aggro, but he I would say alpha male, but not like the worst connotation of it. Just a guy that like takes charge of shit, and like that's the guy you turn to when shit hits the fan. So like a good version of the alpha male. And he's just sitting there talking to me and telling me about how like he had a lot of the same shit when he was growing up, and just I was surprised how many people that my story connected with. That like my first look at them, like I wouldn't have thought that they'd gone through the same thing I had. So that was touching. So.
Just, I don't mean to spoil anything for you, but that actually was you from the future.
Well, he came, he was like, close to the same age.
He was like, dude, don't tell Dave. I want to surprise him. He was like, I'm really 65, but I've been taking care of myself like a motherfucker.
Well, I hope to look that good.
Yeah, my favorite was Vulnerable Dave, which was very, very good. But also,
can we write a series called Vulnerable Dave?
That's he guards his soft spots very carefully. There's no vulnerabilities there.
Porcupine.
My other one was I had many, but if I'm picking one, it was Bonnie's session. So, but we all know that Bonnie is a story genius, but she's real shy too. So the idea of getting up on stage and talking in front of people was really intimidating to her. And she said that we made her feel welcome and safe enough that after 5 minutes of talking that she felt very comfortable. But
she's really good.
Oh, she's amazing. And it was kind of like a scene in a kung fu movie where there's the quiet little guy who, you don't think he's doing anything. And all of a sudden he just rips shit up. And you're like, yeah, that's what I thought. Bonnie really is a story ninja. And when she started
she did beat people up right there on stage.
She did. Awesome. When she did that thing at the end where she said, well, I looked at this movie and somebody was asking about like the characteristics of a good ending. Yeah. And so she was like, well, I analyzed this movie and this movie and this movie. And she named a whole list of movies in different genres and said they had 14 points that all led in. It was a large number of steps in each of those movies that they all led up to this. They all had these steps. And then she listed them off and it was just like mind blowing. And seeing that happen and seeing reactions afterwards. Because as I mentioned, just from a personal standpoint, my son was in the audience for this one with one of his friends who's already written a book and stuff. And so I was real curious what they would like. And I didn't know if they'd tell me that they liked stuff just because they didn't want to hurt my feelings or something like that. And I know that during the business panel, which I think was really, really informative for people, but dry as a desert to a couple of 14-year-olds. Yeah. So they definitely didn't dig that. They said, I know how, I'm sure it was appreciative, but they didn't dig it, which I wouldn't expect them to. But Bonnie's session in particular, they're like, oh, that was really great. We were taking a bunch of notes. And I had a bunch of other people too that said the same thing. We had great speakers. I heard a lot of really great stuff about Tammy's in particular, which Sean and I were kind of regrouping. Dave, you sat in on a lot of that. Did you hear much of Tammy's talk?
No, I think that's when I was like having anxiety and shit.
Yeah.
Tammy's talk, unfortunately. So,
yeah,
I also knew like she would kick ass at it. So I wasn't.
No, of course she would kick ass, and there was a lot of nodding in the audience. There was a lot of rapt attention. There was a lot of leaning forward. I really liked Dave Lacani's his stuff. About persuasion for authors, I thought was really, really killer. And that whole thing that he talked about, with the word hardcore and how it had that single powerful word, and then the single sentence to kind of back it up and brace the word, and how it impacted the whole book. And then how Bonnie was like, okay, here's how we'll use this on every single project going forward. It was just kind of awesome. During Bonnie's talk, when Johnny was just nodding along with like happy eyes that like, oh, I'm so glad she looks at our outlines. Right. One of my favorite moments was of the week. It was actually after the summit, but Bonnie and I went to a 2-day workshop for nonfiction on Thursday and Friday. And on Thursday, it was just like the longest ass day. and we were both like spent because, oh my God, it'd been a long ass week. And so I took her home, and we just, Cindy made dinner, but we just ate it on the couch watching Black Mirror episodes. And it was so awesome. We just watched 3 Black Mirrors, which, there were 3 episodes Bonnie hadn't seen, but they were San Junipero, Hang the DJ.
I see. I don't think I've seen Hang the DJ. Is that in season 3?
I think it's season 4.
I fell off the wagon with Black Mirror because I found that I was always really depressed about humanity afterwards, and it
watch Hang the DJ. Hang the DJ is so good, and it's not depressing at all. And I think it Bonnie was happy to see that they did have such tonal differences. I can't hear. Oh, the other one we saw was Nosedive.
That one's good. That one also makes me feel bad about humanity, but yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah,
with Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, watch Hang the DJ. It shouldn't make you feel bad about humanity, and it's still definitely a Black Mirror, and it's just really good. I've seen that one I think 4 times now, because I really really like it, and I wanted to share it with Bonnie. Dave, how did you like the signature session over the weekend? Did you get anything out of that, or were you like, damn it, I had to be here for 2 extra days?
Yeah, because the Stone Table is transitioning, is evolving as well. But this was our last Stone Table event.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to everybody talk, and the stuff I got from it was more about like work-life balance stuff than anything. Like a lot of the other stuff was either stuff that
it doesn't concern you because we got people for that.
Well, no, it doesn't apply to me, or it's too far in the weeds for me to like think about without being overwhelmed. But like the work-life family balance thing was the thing I took back from it, and trying to fix in my own life.
Have you ever been in a room with that many people crying that you didn't cause?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Well, there's a pause. Bye.
Well, I just hit the wall. Like,
was that the end of the show? I mean, it was last week. I think we're not that tired anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, so end of the summit wrap up. I don't know what else to say. Why inflate it unnecessarily? Unless you had other anecdotes you wanted to share.
No, that sounds perfect. I actually think it would be cool to talk about kind of what we're doing to transition, but I know that that's its own show, and I know that we were talking to our special new marketing person that we brought on over the week.
I love that I don't even know what you're talking about. Oh, you're talking about the book stuff.
Yeah.
This is where we get obtuse and all the listeners get pissed off because we won't actually.
Well, we talked yesterday, and we talked specifically. Yeah, we talked specifically about having a show just about this because it's exciting, and she wants to be on that show.
All right, do you want to tease it then? Because it is a ball buster if we just leave it.
Yeah, we can tease it. So this happened on Wednesday. So the show was over, and Johnny and I were doing our normal like circuit, just kind of walking the Renaissance before our story solution little thing began. And we had what I think is a really super idea that evolves the Stone Table in the perfect way, where it takes it away from
being a private mastermind.
Yeah, it's no longer a private mastermind, a way for us to share knowledge that needs to be shared in a way that's just very inclusive. And it's one of those things that it is the perfect ending to the Stone Table because it is surprising and yet inevitable. And
we're increasingly looking for leverage, I think, is kind of the theme here, because we had I heard a bunch of this can't help but be self-aggrandizing, but it was also very like meaningful, is a bunch of people said to us some form of you guys changed my life. And the reason that that's meaningful, other than the obvious, is that Sterling and Stone's sort of mission statement / tagline, statement of purpose is we change the world with story, which we've been using in some form or another since 2014 when we did Fiction Unboxed. And because it was, we've been using that, and it just, like, it didn't mean a lot, and now it suddenly means something. And so what we're looking for is like, okay, so we are actually having an impact. And this is the sort of thing that after the very first summit caused Sean to be, inspired enough by what had happened at the summit to say, let's go whole hog. And what we're doing this time is, how can we, quote unquote, go whole hog? How can we do more of this while also doing less of it? So how can we stay involved? And a number of people said something, said things like, well, it's really sad that you guys are leaving. What are you going to do? Are we going to, I don't know, we're going to hear from you again?
Yeah, you created this awesome thing that we're all a part of, and now you're saying goodbye.
Right. But we aren't. And this is one of the ways that we're going to do it is we will continue as long as StoryShop wants us to speak and, host, I guess, maybe just open up the new, whatever the summit becomes, but also with books. We haven't released a solid nonfiction book in a little while, and we're looking at doing new ways of doing that, which we'll save for its own episode. But it's beyond what you'd expect, and it's not just like, hey, self-publish, publish books, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, so we'll have that soon. I know, but because there is a lot there, and it's really simple, but it goes deep.
Goes deep. Dave, you want to give a one-word rebuttal to it goes deep?
No, I will avoid that.
All right.
Good. I don't like to go with the obvious. Come on.
Mining. All right. So this has been the Story Studio podcast. Let us know if we need music. I don't know. Have Jim stick the music on there without an actual formal intro. Maybe we can do that. So thanks,
everyone. The worst show ever music and just play it.
I do like the worst show ever music, even though Dave hates it.
Maybe as an outro, not as an intro. But
right, you got to get rid of that CTA bullshit. Yeah. So thanks for listening. And
the CTA is be awesome. That's our CTA for today. Be awesome.
Be awesome too. Be excellent to each other. That was what Bill and Ted said.
Oh, I like that. Well, let's start signing off with be excellent to each other. Yes, no. Be excellent to each other.
Dave doesn't. Well-dressed Dave doesn't like that.
I actually like that well-dressed Dave doesn't like it. It makes it more funny. So
yeah, it does.
Okay, be excellent to each other.
All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Adios.